Hey, welcome to 1500ESPN.com. I'm Derek Wetmore. This is Andrew Kramer. We're at Soldier Field where the Vikings just lost 21-13 to the Chicago Bears. Vikings fall to 4-6 on the season, 0-3 in the division. Andrew, kind of a chilly game, snow in the first half, but not the brutal weather conditions that we were maybe expecting coming into it. Nonetheless, Vikings offense couldn't get anything going against a Chicago Bears defense that had been terrible this season, and then the Vikings defense couldn't get off the field on third down. What was your overall assessment of the Vikings play?
Well, basically it's over 32 degrees here, but the Vikings offense was pretty frozen, I would say, just because on the field they really weren't doing anything. Teddy Bridgewater had 50 yards passing in the first half. Really, they couldn't get much going. Your leading rusher was your backup safety, and Andrew Sendejo, who took a fake punt for 48 yards, and hey, it worked. It set up really your only touchdown of the game, but they got that spoon-fed to him and couldn't do anything else offensively. Kicked 2 field goals, missed another. Really, this game was close only because Chicago's just not a good team, and this Vikings team showed that they're not either.
Yeah, Jay Cutler looked like he might have a typical Jay Cutler day, right? Threw an interception at the end of the first half. Also threw an interception to Harrison Smith. But with his big physical wide receivers, Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall, he was able kind of to pick on Vikings cornerback Josh Robinson today. Was there anything you saw that the Vikings were doing that wasn't really working against the bigger receivers, or something they should have done differently?
Just straight up man coverage. I mean, these are not guys, when you're putting up Josh Robinson, who's 5'9", 5'10", you can't put him up man coverage against 6'3", 6'4 receivers, and that's what Mike Zimmer was doing. We asked him after the game, hey, would you do anything differently in terms of your coverages? He just said yes, and then didn't want to really elaborate on it. I asked him later, well, what would you do differently? Because they were dominating against your man looks. And he said, listen, I can't make these cornerbacks taller. And he basically just said, like, hey, I would call some things differently if I could, but at the same time, you just can't out-jump those guys. And really, Josh Robinson couldn't even get his hand up there and into Alshon Jeffrey or Brandon Marshall's hands. So what I saw with that was a coach that wanted to try and play a man up, try to beat him at their own game. And really, it just wasn't working at all.
Fair to say they basically challenged Jay Cutler to beat them, and he beat them?
They did. The beginning of the game, it was a lot of single high safety looks. They wanted to stop Matt Forte. Matt Forte is his team's leading receiver. Matt Forte is the heart of the offense. Jay Cutler turns the ball over way too much to really be considered that. So Mike Zimmer came in here with a game plan of wanting to stop Matt Forte, and that didn't even work. He still caught 6 passes for 60 yards, had 170 all-purpose yards, and at the beginning, like you said, they like to put another safety down in the box, really give him single high looks, and Jay Cutler took advantage of it. I think he started out about 7 for 8 on third down attempts. They went 10 for 16 in the game, or 11 for 17, something like that. Just atrocious defense on third downs for the Vikings, and that's not going to help you out when your offense can't move the ball.
Another big problem on defense was the missed tackling, specifically rookie linebacker Anthony Barr, who's had a great season to date. Today struggled big time with missed tackles, whether it was against Forte or any of their receivers. I asked Barr after the game what was the common thread in missed tackles. He said not only himself personally, but the whole defense, he felt maybe a little bit out of position on some plays, and then as a result has some poor tackling technique too. That really killed the Vikings because they weren't unable to get off the field on third down.
No, exactly. And Forte had a 30-yard catch and run on a screen that involved, I think, 3 missed tackles. One from Blanton,
3, right?
One from Harrison Smith, and 1 from Barr. I think I counted up 4 missed tackles for Barr on the day. That's just not good for a guy who's been really dominant as a rookie here, and they really need to have him contribute as a pass rusher too. And today they sacked Cutler 0 times, couldn't get after him. The Bears and Mark Trestman did a good job of trying to roll Jay Cutler out of the pocket, get him moving, get him away from Everson Griffin. And on the first play of the game, you saw it. They put their rookie tackle they drafted in the 7th round right next to Jermon Bushrod to kind of stop Everson Griffin and try to stifle him right away. So they came in, attacked the Vikings' strengths, and it worked.
Yeah. Andrew, bigger picture here. Do the Vikings look at where they're at in the division? I asked a bunch of players that. They wouldn't touch that question. Obviously, things aren't looking good for the playoffs. They might not have been even if the Vikings won this game. But at 4-6, do you start to kind of question where the season is at, given kind of the dire straits that the Bears were in before this game?
They wasted a golden opportunity here. Chicago's defense obviously allowing 31 points per game, 280 yards passing, the 2nd most passing touchdowns in the league. All those stats will tell you that they're terrible on defense, yet this offense couldn't get anything going. So the bigger picture is they're 0-3 in the division, 4-6 on the year. They had a great opportunity to be 500. They squandered that, and really this is just down to what we thought it was at the beginning of the year, a rebuild year. This defense is better, even though they just don't look like it at times, especially today. But Mike Zimmer's still feeling out his personnel and what he can do with guys like Josh Robinson, and you found out today what you can't do.
Absolutely. Now the eyes turn forward to Adrian Peterson. We'll keep our eyes very closely on that. The NFLPA meets on Monday with the NFL to figure out kind of what the next step is.
Yeah, and Mike Zimmer said that's the last thing on his mind.
Yeah.
He got asked about that, and he said, hey, after getting beat by a team like the Bears who had given up 42 points per game in the last 3 games, that's the last thing on his mind is a guy that hadn't been here all year anyway.
And I absolutely believe that that's true.
Yeah.
Haven't dealt with Peterson since week 1. After a loss like that, the Vikings are probably licking their own wounds. But we'll keep our eyes on that. We'll keep you updated at 1500ESPN.com. Check out the Purple Podcast for an analysis of this Vikings-Bears game. Andrew and I we should probably go record that inside. I'm cold.
Somewhere up there we'll end up doing it. Yep.
It's too chilly to record a podcast out here. So we'll go upstairs. Yep. We'll have analysis of Matt Khalil, Jared Allen, kind of an interesting matchup. We'll talk about Teddy Bridgewater.
We didn't even talk about Matt Khalil.
Yeah, I know. Amazing. We'll have a whole host of other things on the Purple Podcast. So do check that out on 1500ESPN.com. Keep checking back to the website for all of the best Vikings analysis, opinion, news, and notes from Soldier Field. For Andrew Kramer, I'm Derek Wetmore. Thanks for watching.